Guys, this is going to come as a shock, but look, how do I say it? Okay. I'm going to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds some more. Okay, look. Hello, my fellow hunters, and welcome. I think we need a moment to just sort of pause and really just let what Wilds is and what it has done already properly sink in. Like the trailers that we've had, the initial reveal and then the main ones, 1 and 2, actually giving us this glimpse caused a lot of excitement, and rightly so, because everything looked absolutely insane. But trailers are trailers, right? And they are specifically curated to be as appealing as possible by their very nature. But now we have had countless people, those lucky bastards, actually see raw gameplay. A non-pre-recorded hunt playing out, being controlled live in front of them, showing the game's current state. And unanimously, 100% of everyone I have seen everywhere has come away from that absolutely, well, dear God, it's beautiful. Mind blown, breath taken, awed. Absolutely expectations surpassed and then some. All concerns obliterated and evaporated. The future of Monster Hunter laid out before them, and it was good. More than good. Everything they could have wanted and more. And that is infectious. The collateral hype that everything I have now been furiously absorbing over the days and days since it happened. I don't think there is a single piece of coverage of the showcase demo hunt that I have now not internalized. And it's just wow. Like, I really do think, and I've been saying it before any of this even happened, that my gut is telling me that Monster Hunter Wilds, the 6th generation, is going to be, by far and away, the best Monster Hunter has ever been, the biggest Capcom game that has ever been, and in scope so far it seems to literally be that, but in success too, and it'll be an entirely new era for the series. I also think it'll be a big turning point as World was, with a new layer of now that we have taken this step, we can never untake it. To go back would be a great disservice, and it must ever keep forging onwards towards their ultimate dream and goal for Monster Hunter, which really does seem to be, at least in the proper mainline non-spin-offy Rise, Sunbreak, more arcadey handheld games, this world, this living, breathing world. And everything they have seen, everything that we know about, everything that has been discussed is echoing that. The level of detail, immersion, seamlessness is just pouring through it. And I just ultimately think that we have a masterpiece in the making, and I could not be more excited. I could also not have a greater need to know and see even more, and honestly, I cannot wait to get to the point where I can grandiosely once again behold and get Cotton's first reaction to all of this. Like, imagine that, right? He doesn't know anything past the first trailer. And just 2 more trailers and a 15-minute demo hunt later, there is already so much that would absolutely just break him in the best way. And we're just getting started. Oh, the joy that I am preemptively feeling for the Wilds Pro and Noob cannot be overstated, and that is really special. As is just Monster Hunter. Like, I cover a lot of games, so does the team here on the channel. I play a lot of games, of course, but nothing has ever quite given or captured that feeling that new Monster Hunter does. From the reveals all the way to that first time through, that first hunt against every new creature, it's just really magical in a way that has never been replicated for me anywhere else I have looked. and Wilds is making me feel that already in, well, the greatest amount I ever have. I never thought that I would get that kind of E3 world being revealed. Oh my god, that's Monster Hunter, what? But it's kind of happened. Knowing what we know now about actual how Wilds plays, how they have gone for it, the design decisions, the seamlessness of the world, the detail across everything. Hell, the weather even affects the UI visually. Like, that is just amazing. It's a little touch, and of course not the first game to do it, but it really speaks to just how far they're aiming to go here. And while I think there are a few definitely viable and worth discussing concerns that I and many others still have, such as with the season cycle, if you're wanting a specific one and it's a permanent, seamless world, like you're in the Guiding Lands 24/7, do you just have to wait for the right season? What if they last too long or even too little? What if you have to wait too long to get the monsters and the materials you want, or you don't have enough time to get them if it changes too quickly? And they have spoke about that. It's been in interviews, and they've said they're very much fine-tuning it because they know getting that right is important. A couple other bits as well, but I don't want to mar this little talk with it, because this, for me, is really about expressing the heart of Monster Hunter and how much Wilds is making it beat. I do want to do a little talk on things that I hope they nail, and a few sad things that have been deconfirmed, like baby Pookie Pookie not being a Pookie Pookie, just a regular endemic life. I know, it's just... But for the most part, and I mean like 99% the most part, we have something really exceptional brewing, and, well, it's been brewing for a while. We now know that Monster Hunter Wilds has been in development since the day that Iceborne came out. That is ridiculous. That is meaning it's going to have practically 6 years plus of development to pour into this, and they're telling us that it's still very much not done. They're still actively deving it, and, well, that does make me think that maybe we might actually not get a Q1 2025 release. Maybe it might be later in the year, which would be sad, but it also means they're starting the news cycle so early, if so. So I think there is still definitely possibilities for, essentially an argument can be made for all parts of 2025, but the fact is a lot has gone into this. And look, the bottom line, World in Iceborne is the most successful game Capcom have ever done. And whether it's not literally a story thematic sequel to World, it's definitely a spiritual one, both in how it's being seen and with the, the mechanics, the visual, the style, even down to just having a slinger on your arm. And with that in mind, well, I cannot fathom the level of do what you will, carte blanche-esque budget they have been working with to really nail this. It feels like we are going to get the most complete version of Monster Hunter we could ever have imagined. And I do think that zero loading screens, hub being part of the map, one big map, so on and so forth, has always been the goal. And this kind of brings me to a few things that I have seen where I've seen some people think I don't want to be on a 24/7 expedition. I don't want to be permanently in the Guidelands. I don't want to have to find the monster to hunt each time or just select it from a map. I want a hub and quests, and I'm a little bit concerned. And I get that on the surface, but I think there is an element that is not really being considered, and I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I don't think what we're getting is essentially a permanent expedition. I don't even think it's just a permanent trip to the Guiding Lands. I think it is exactly Monster Hunter as we know and love it, just evolved that step further, and it's the kind of thing that has always been, well, right in front of us, staring us in the face. See, when you go to the ancient forest, and I think this is the best example I can give of it, when you have that very first hunt, but even any time after that, and you take this path to the right of the map, and you wander on, and you know where it's going to lead to Astera. You can see the gathering hub ship up there, and if we were allowed to walk through these gates, I mean, right there is the bridge to it, and everyone waiting, the commander in tow, and we just can't quite go there. We have to press this button, have a loading screen, and there we are. So I don't think Monster Hunter Wilds essentially looking at this situation and going, well, what if there just wasn't a loading screen between this gate and that town right there, this like 50 foot of path? What if we just actually let that happen? Okay, now wait a minute, what if everything, every map, every town, every hub, the smithy, the quests, let's just have it all in the same place? Actually, why do we need to load at all? And that is, I think, the way to look at it. It's not a fundamental change to Monster Hunter, though there certainly will be those. It's simply what World was already trying to do, but actually done. Freer, more open, more detailed, more natural. Like, we look at the world map, and to me, Wilds is literally going to be this, but if it's all connected and you can just run from the ancient forest through Astera, exit into the Wildspire Waste, go north, drop down into the Rotten Vale, climb back up to the Coral Highlands, run up the path that you do take in the story mission with the Admiral, end up in the Elder's Recess, and, you know, you just make camps along the way, and you can go back and forth, you can run through the Coral Highlands, find the research base that's like the village, the tribe of locals to the Forbidden Lands, and so on and so forth. It's kind of been staring us in the face the entire time with World and Iceborne, and now it's just being finally realized, and I think that speaks volumes, and it's so freaking cool. To me, Monster Hunter has always been about that immersion, that naturalness, that animalisticness. Yes, the fantasy of fighting cool creature with big weapon and all of that stuff is appealing, and it's brilliant, and it wouldn't work if it wasn't one of the most incredible combat systems we've ever had in games. But also, that feel that it gives cannot be ignored, because the creatures have so much detail gone into them, their moves, how they work, how they function, and that has just grown and grown throughout the games. It really crescendoed in Wilds and Iceborne, and it now seems to be going even past that in Wilds, being able to follow the life cycle of a random endemic life. It doesn't just sit there, it actually, you know, has a routine, has a nest, has chicks, can move around, and you can really get engaged with that, not to mention the monsters now in herds, a populated map, not just a here's the 3 monsters on the map, you load in, you choose what's going to be there. It is a world that is just you in it, hunting, doing what you're doing, deciding what to do. The quest, the story is still there. You open the map, you choose the monster, you get a list of quests related to that monster, and once you've chosen, you just walk to it. No artificial barriers. And I think that might be the way to look at it. How can you have a natural, living, breathing, raw, ferocious hunting environment and experience? How can you have that nature if there is still so much artificialness getting in the way? The antithesis of a seamless, living, a breathing experience. And that seems like what Wilds is doing, removing as many of those barriers as possible to just let everything breathe. And I, for one, couldn't be more excited. We've had so many fears allayed, focus mode just being an option primarily for new players. It doesn't restrict what you can do if you don't use it. It just helps as a targeting system. You know, it's not suddenly the entire new way of combating. You don't hunt on your mount, that's not viable. The auto-dodging is just auto-travel in truth. It's not like you have to brawl with the entire herd. You separate the alpha out and have a normal hunt, but there's still plenty of normal monsters like Thor Magala that aren't herd-like. And it not being the flagship is completely fine to me. It just makes it even more exciting to figure out what will be the flagship. But at the very least, to me, if I could have described my dream Monster Hunter a year ago, it would be essentially, yeah, give us one big world, everything is on it, and I just want to live and breathe in it. I don't want it to be air quotes open world like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom where you can go anywhere, do anything right from the start. I want it to still flow, have a story, have a session of key quests and, you know, assignments as things develop, and it seems like that's what they're doing. They're saying it's going to be the best narrative and most involved that Monster has ever had, but done in a way that is just this journey from start to finish with no interruptions, and that is everything to me. And I really just wanted to take that moment and, well, talk about it. I think it's very clear at this point that Wilds is doing, well, almost everything right, and it's going to be exceedingly special. And I think it might be fair to say I don't think I've ever been more excited for a game. Which is kind of crazy when you put it like that, but I really think that might be the case, though of course this could be fresh off the presses. You know, it's just happened excitement talking, but there really is something in the air, and I feel it, and I'm sure you guys too. Let me know what you think then, and for now, until we next have a little Wilds chat, which let's be honest, won't be very far away. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.